everybody. My name is Roisin. Some of you might know me. You might have seen other videos that I've put up for the library, or you might have been coming into the library when I was doing my story times in there. I really miss those story times and I hope we can have them back soon. But until then, we can do videos, which is great because you can watch them anytime you want and you don't have to come into the library at a special time. You can watch them at home and you can watch them in your pajamas, or you can watch them after your bath, or you can watch them before your dinner. You can do them whenever you want, so that's good. So it could be first thing in the morning, could be just before bedtime, or whenever you feel in the mood for a story. So I'm going to start. Now, if you haven't seen any of my story videos before, or if you haven't been coming into the library when I was doing my story time, you might not know that I draw the pictures when I'm doing my story. I don't use a book. Well, I do for some of the story times, but other times I just tell a story out of my head and I draw the pictures on the board. And sometimes the pictures don't come out very well because I'm not very good at drawing. And when I'm in the library and all the children are there on the floor beside me, I say to them, no laughing allowed. So I'm saying to you now, no laughing allowed at my drawings, even if you think they're very silly and funny. No laughing. And of course, that's a joke. You can laugh if you want. And I say that to the children in the library too. They can laugh if they want. And I like when they laugh, because laughing is great, isn't it? Laughing always makes you feel happy. So I'm going to start with a story that I made up about a princess. Now, if you're a boy, don't be thinking, oh no, not a story about a princess, because this is a very silly story about a very silly stuff that happens to the princess. And there's a witch in it, and there's a wizard in it, and there's other people in it. So it's actually a story for everyone, for boys and girls. Okay. So, once upon a time, there was a princess. I'm going to draw her now. Here's her head. I hope you can see the drawing. She was beautiful. Now, she doesn't look very beautiful because I haven't given her any hair, so let's give her some hair. Let's give her curly, kind of princessy hair. Okay? No laughing. And let's give her a crown because she's a princess. And let's give her a body because she kind of needs a body. So, hands. Told you I wasn't very good at drawing, and you can see that is true. Hands, legs, and let's give her nice bows on her shoes because they're princess shoes. Okay. And we'll give her some buttons going down her dress just because it's a princess dress, so it should have buttons. Once upon a time there was a princess, and her name was Princess Prunella. And Princess Prunella lived in a castle. Here is, you know the way a castle goes up and down like that? She lived in a castle with her mum, the queen, and her dad, the king. And Princess Prunella, because she was a very special princess, she was their only child, she had a special tower. There's a little window in the tower. Can you see that tower? That was her special tower, and at the top of her tower there was a bedroom, her bedroom. And there was, right beside her bedroom, there was her bathroom, her very own bathroom, because princesses always have their own bathroom. And she had to go up the stairs in the tower. You know those stairs that go around and round and round like this? She had to go up the stairs every night to bed. There were a lot of stairs, but she didn't mind, because you know, children have lots of energy, and she didn't mind going up all the stairs. There was 142 stairs. And she went up the 142 stairs very quickly every night. And she went into the bathroom, she brushed her teeth, and she washed her face, and she did anything else she had to do in the bathroom. And then she jumped into bed in her bedroom, and she fell asleep. She was a very happy princess, and everyone loved her. I should do the end of the castle, just so it doesn't look like it's an enormous castle, that size. One terrible morning, Princess Prunella got up, like she always does, and she went running into her bathroom, like she always did, to look in the big mirror on the wall to say, "Good morning, Princess Prunella," because that's what she did every single morning. But But this morning, she looked in the mirror and she went, "Good mo..." And then she gave a big scream like this. "Ah!" Because a terrible thing had happened in the middle of the night. Her beautiful princess nose was now an elephant's trunk. "Ah!" she said. She had a big long trunk coming out like this out of her nose, out of her face, and her nose was gone. And she got such a fright that her crown fell off and it landed on the ground. There it is, falling. "Oh no," said Princess Prunella, and she was really, really upset. Well, anybody would be upset, wouldn't they? Would you be upset if you woke up and you found you had an elephant's trunk instead of your nose? I think you would, and I know I would. So she went running down the 142 steps, and she ran so fast she nearly fell down the 142 steps, but she didn't. And she ran into the kitchen in the palace, and her mum, the queen, was in there making porridge, because the queen didn't let any of the servants make the porridge because she liked to make it herself. She was stirring the porridge at the cooker, and she was humming a little song. Princess Prunella came running into the kitchen and she said, "Mother, Mother, look what happened!" And the queen turned around and looked at her little daughter and said, "Oh my goodness gracious me, Prunella, what on earth is that?" "It's an elephant's trunk," Princess Prunella said. "It's on my face and I can't get it off." And she pulled and pulled and pulled, and her mother tried pulling and pulling and pulling, but they couldn't. It was stuck on her face just like a real nose, just like you can't pull off your nose. It was the same with the elephant's trunk. They couldn't pull it off. "Oh dear," said the queen. "You can't stay in the castle with that nose, Prunella. You're going to have to go and live in the zoo with all the other elephants." "No," said Prunella. She didn't want to live in the zoo. She wanted to live in her lovely castle with her lovely tower and her lovely bathroom and her lovely bedroom. She went running out of the castle, and she went running out into the street. We can get rid of her crown now because I think it's fallen down to the ground now. It wouldn't take so long to fall down, sure it wouldn't. So we get rid of that. She went running out to the street, and the first person she met was an old wizard. Let's give him a hat, wizard's hat. And here's his wizardy face. He had a longish nose, and he also had a wizard beard. There's his beard. And he saw Princess Prunella's nose. Well, not her nose, her trunk. And he said, "Oh my goodness, what is going on here?" And luckily he had his magic wand with him. And Prunella said, "Oh, wizard, 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 what will I do? Can you help me, please? I woke up this morning and I had a trunk instead of my nose. My lovely princess nose is gone. What am I going to do?" And the wizard said, and he stroked his long beard, because he always did that when he was thinking. And then he said, "Close your eyes, Princess Prunella, and count up to 72. And when you finish, you can open your eyes and all will be well." So Princess Prunella squeezed her eyes shut like this, and she started to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, in that kind of voice, because she was still so scared and so shocked. 5, 6, 7, 8. And she counted all the way up to number 72. And just before she finished, she heard this sound. And she heard this sound. And when she opened her eyes, the air was full of yellow smoke. And the wizard had disappeared. And she went back into the castle. She ran back into the castle. And she ran up the 142 steps as fast as she could. She nearly fell up the stairs. And she ran into her bathroom at the top. And she looked in the mirror. And she went, Ah! Because guess what? The trunk was gone. The wizard took away the trunk, but she had a big, red, roundy clown's nose instead. Ah, she said, and now her hair started to stick up. She was so shocked. Ah! She went running downstairs again. That's her mouth, not another nose. That's her mouth. She went running down the stairs again, and into the kitchen where her mother, the queen, was just putting the porridge out into the bowls. Mother, mother, Princess Prunella said, look what happened. I met a wizard and he got rid of the trunk, but now I have a clown's nose. Ah! And her mother looked and said, oh my goodness, Prunella, oh, that's awful. And she tried to pull off the clown's nose, and Prunella tried to pull off the clown's nose, and they couldn't pull it off. It was stuck just like a real nose. And the queen said, Prunella, you can't stay in the castle with a nose like that. I'm sorry. You're going to have to go and live in the circus with all the other clowns. No, said Prunella. She did not want to live in the circus. So she ran outside again. And this time she met a witch. Now, it was a good witch. And how did she know she was a good witch? Because all her clothes were white, and because she was smiling. Good witches smile. Bad witches frown like this. Good witches smile like this. And she was smiling, and Prunella went up to her. Oh, and she had her magic wand, of course. There's the witch. And Prunella ran over to her and she said, witch, 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 please can you help me? Look, I got a clown's nose. I want my own nose back. The witch looked a little bit alarmed. Oh dear, she said. Oh, Prunella, I'm very sorry to see that. I'll do my best to help you. You must close your eyes, my dear, and you must count up to 322. Can you do that? Yes, said Prunella. And when you open your eyes, all will be well, said the witch. So Prunella squeezed her eyes closed again, and she started to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And she kept on counting and counting, and it took her a long time to get up to 322. And just before she reached it, she heard this sound again. I think that was the sound of the spell. And then she heard this sound, and that was the sound of the smoke coming. Ooh, I just dropped my glantor, so I have to pick it up. And when she opened her eyes, the air was full of purple smoke, and the witch had disappeared. Oh, Prunella went running back into the castle and went running up the windy stairs. 142. She was really tired now because she'd been going up and down a lot. She ran into her bathroom and she looked in the mirror and she went, because instead of her clown's nose, she had a carrot stuck to her face, a big orange carrot. No, said Prunella, and she went running down the 142 steps again. Mother, mother, look, mother! The queen was just about to take a spoonful of porridge when Prunella ran in. She dropped her spoon. Prunella! Oh my goodness, what now? Mother, I got a carrot on my nose now. Please help me. And the two of them pulled as much as they could, but it was stuck, just like a real nose. Well now, Prunella, said her mother, you definitely can't stay in the castle with a carrot nose. You're going to have to go to the North Pole and live with all the other snowmen. No, said Prunella. She didn't want to live in the North Pole with all the other snowmen. She ran out of the castle. And the first person she met was not anybody magic. It was her good friend, John. John sat beside Prunella at school, and they always shared. They were best friends. But John wasn't magic, and John didn't have any magic wand. But Prunella just wanted someone to help her, so she said, John, look what happened, my nose. And John was very surprised to see her nose, and he said, oh dear, oh Prunella, that's terrible. What happened? I don't know, said Prunella. I just woke up and I had an elephant's trunk, and then I had a clown's nose, and now I have a snowman's nose. I just want my own nose back, John. Can you help me? And John said, well, I'm not magic. I don't have a wand and I don't know any magic spells. But I am your friend, and that's what friends do. They try to help each other. So maybe if we both close our eyes and if we wish really, really hard, some magic might come. Some kind of friend magic might come. I don't know, but we should try. So Prunella said, yes, let's try that, John. So the two of them closed their eyes really tightly. And Prunella wished and wished and wished and wished. And then she opened her eyes. And John was there still. And John smiled. And he said, go and look in the mirror, Prunella. So Prunella went running into the castle again and ran up the 142 steps and looked in her bathroom mirror and went, there was her beautiful princess nose, just like she remembered it. And her other noses, well, they weren't really her noses, sure they weren't, but they were all gone. And she was so, so happy. And she didn't know how it had happened. She picked up her crown, put it back on her head. She didn't know how it had happened, but she thought it must have been friend magic. Because friends, sometimes it seems like they can be magic because they can help us if we're upset. They can make us cheerful again. They can just help us if we're ever in trouble. Maybe if we fall, they can pick us up, or they can give us hugs and do nice stuff like that. So that's the end of Prunella's story. And of course she lived happily ever after. And of course John lived happily ever after too. And her mum, and her dad, the king, who wasn't in the story at all. Sure he wasn't. He was just coming down the stairs to have his porridge when the story finished. So he didn't get into it. But he was very happy when they told him the story of the noses. He said, oh, Prunella, I'm glad John was able to help you to get your nose back. And I hope it never happens again. And you know what? It never happened again. So they were very happy. Now I have this book. And this book has pictures in it of things that I did. I'm going to tell you a poem, and then I'm going to sing a song for you. And then we might be finished. We'll see. We'll see if we've time when I'm finished that bit. Okay, just have to find the picture. Oh, here it is. Okay. Here is a picture of a bear in a fridge. Now, a fridge is a short name for Frigidaire. Well, it kind of is. In this poem it is. And this is how this poem goes. Let me hold up the picture so you'll see it. There's a polar bear in our Frigidaire. He likes it because it's cold in there. With his seat in the meat, and his face in the fish, and his big hairy paws in the buttery dish. He's nibbling the noodles. He's munching the rice. He's slurping the soda. He's licking the ice. And he lets out a roar if you open the door. And it gives me a scare to know he's in there, that polary bear in our Frigidaire. That would be a bit scary if you opened your fridge and found a polar bear in there. See the little boy? He's scared. Because every time he opens the door, the polar bear goes, "Rawr," and he has to close the door very quickly. So I hope they got rid of the polar bear and were able to get at the stuff in the fridge, all the nice stuff. Okay, I have a song. You know this song? I bet some of you know this song because it's a very famous song. Some people call it Little Bunny Fou Fou, and other people call it Little Rabbit Fou Fou. I call it Little Bunny Fou Fou, and this is how it goes. Bunny Fou Fou lived in a forest, just to tell you before I sing the song. He lived in a forest, and there were lots of little mice living in the forest too, little field mice. And they were all running around happily, but Bunny Fou Fou was not very nice to them. In fact, he was kind of a bully, and sometimes he would catch a field mouse in his paws, and he'd give it a bop on the head like that. Now, he didn't really hurt them, because, you know, bunnies have very soft, furry paws. So they didn't get hurt, but they got a fright when he picked them up. And they didn't like it. They didn't like him doing that, but he still did it because he thought it was great fun. Sometimes bullies are like that. And somebody had to come along and teach Bunny Fou Fou a lesson, so somebody did. So let's start. Little Bunny Fou Fou, hopping through the forest, scooping up the field mice and bopping them on the head. Down came the good fairy, and she said, Little Bunny Fou Fou, I don't want to see you scooping up the field mice and bopping them on the head. I'll give you 3 chances. If you don't behave, I'll turn you into a goon. The next day, Little Bunny Fou Fou, hopping through the forest, scooping up the field mice and bopping them on the head. Oh, he was still doing it. Down came the good fairy, and she said, Little Bunny Fou Fou, I don't want to see you scooping up the field mice and bopping them on the head. I'll give you 2 chances. If you don't behave, I'll turn you into a goon. The next day, Little Bunny Fou Fou, hopping through the forest, scooping up the field mice and bopping them on the head. Oh, he's in trouble now. Down came the good fairy, and she said, Little Bunny Fou Fou, I don't want to see you scooping up the field mice and bopping them on the head. I'll give you 1 chance. If you don't behave, I'll turn you into a goon. The next day, Little Bunny Fou Fou, hopping through the forest, scooping up the field mice and bopping them on the head. Boy, he's in trouble. Down came the good fairy, and she said, and she was really mad now, Little Bunny Fou Fou, I don't want to see you scooping up the field mice and bopping them on the head. I gave you 3 chances, Little Bunny Fou Fou, and you didn't behave. So now she pinged her wand. I'm turning you into a goon. And Bunny Fou Fou became a goon. And that's what he looked like, and it wasn't nice. And all the little field mice were having a great laugh at him. Look at Bunny Fou Fou, good enough for you. And then the good fairy came back, because she was a good fairy, and she was sorry for him because he was very upset. And she said, are you going to behave? And he said, yes. And she said, all right, I'll change you back, but you must keep your promise. I will. And he did. And from then on, he became great friends with the field mice, and he would just pick them up gently and give them a cuddle. And they liked that. The end. I hope you liked the story time, and I hope I'll see you sometime in the library. Thank you for listening.